Good evening. Welcome to Ubuntu channel. Tonight we do have the program called Meet Your Leaders. And to host it, my name is Chaza right here, and we'll be actually hosting, Mr. Elias Mulenga right here. And tonight we'll be talking about climate change, and also looking at one or two other issues that are surrounding climate change. Things like governance, the political situation, in the country, and so on and so forth. And Mr. Elias Mulenga happens to be the Executive Director for Governance and Development Advocates, Zambia. Mr. Mulenga, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening. Thank you, Chaza. How are you? And good evening, viewers.
Doing pretty fine. How are you doing yourself?
Well, I'm very well, thank you. And how are you doing? And how is the Ubuntu channel?
Ubuntu channel is also doing pretty fine. And it's good to have you right here on our Ubuntu channel. We are actually so delighted. It's definitely our pleasure.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here. You are welcome, and thank you for inviting me.
Beautiful. Mr. Mulenga, we only know that you are the Executive Director, for Governance and Development Advocates Zambia. Would like to know more about yourself, and probably even people out there would like to know who is Elias Mulenga. You tell us, all aspects, family-wise, education-wise, political-wise, and so on and so forth. Who is Mr. Mulenga?
Well, Mr. Mulenga is the son of the soul of Zambia. I'm a product of Zambia, educated here in Zambia and South Africa. And I'm a family man, proud family man actually, with a very happy family. And my political career has not started like today. And besides, I'm no longer too much active in politics. We have engaged ourselves with Governance and Development Advocates Zambia, an organization that was founded by the group where I was elected as president and appointed as executive director. And in our organization, we champion the cause of good governance, democracy, human rights, women rights, boy-child education, human trafficking, and many others, including the well-being of the nation. We also provide checks and balances to the government and the opposition so that we ensure that our political dispensation in the nation is not abused excessively, or our constitution is not manipulated or infringed, or should I say assaulted, as the current scenarios that we are currently experiencing. We have noted a number of things that we have provided checks and balances, that we have commented on, that we have managed to follow leaders, both the governors and those that are in parliament, from opposition, independent, and the ruling party. A number of things that has been happening in the country hasn't been, should I say, good, in the sense that the current group of members of parliament that we have mostly resorted to turning our house into a play circle house. But thanks that due to publicity and advocacy, the house is now getting back to where it is supposed to be. And that is what we are championing as governance and development advocates in Zambia.
Beautiful. I'd like you to just stress or highlight in terms of your organization. What sort of organization is your organization? Are you a non-governmental organization, a political party, or what sort are you?
We are a non-governmental organization, non-aligned to any political party, non-sponsored, non-paid, either by the current ruling party, be it the opposition or independent political party. We do our personal projects to manage our organization in ensuring that we provide proper checks and balances to the governance of the nation. We don't specifically target which position to belong to, but we want justice to prevail and also good governance to lead the cause of our democracy in Zambia.
All right, Mr. Mulenga, as the topical issue of the day is on climate change, and this borders on the presidential speech that, was given by the president a couple of days ago, declaring, what is happening as this drought as a national disaster. This has been politicized. Now, yourselves being a non-governmental organization, I'd like to hear from you. What is your reaction on the presidential, speech declaring, this issue as a national disaster?
Our position is we call a spade a spade. The declaration of the current situation as a national disaster, this drought that has hit not only Zambia, but other neighboring countries, being declared as a national disaster by our president, President Hakainde Hichilema, is a right trajectory to take for a president that cares for his people. I'll tell you, I've seen some different reactions on social media where others have condemned the declaration of the drought as a national disaster. This is something that is not done in a good faith. People are saying the president could have declared cholera as a national disaster, unlike declaring a drought as a national disaster. What we should understand is that cholera is a disease that is curable, and a drought is a natural calamity that befalls anyone, any region, be it in Africa or Europe, Asia, they can have the drought. So the declaration has come at the right time, and it is good that it has prepared people's mindset to know that this is actually El Nino. We used to call it the heat wave that was coming to Zambia, to Africa, stuff like that. But look at what has happened. We have lost almost all the crops that were planted, risking the lives of people to die from hunger, the lives of our animals to die from hunger, because the food security of our basket of the nation has been interfered with by the drought. So the only way to save the nation is to actually inform people on what is actually happening so that everyone is aware. Unlike a situation where one will stand and rise and tell you, no, Chaza, the reason why we have got this drought in Zambia is because we don't pray to God. It is because Chaza has not been accepted here or there. But the situation now is that we all know, we have come to understand that this is what is actually happening. The person on the ground is aware, and this is the information that you, the media people, should not take in your files as media houses. This is the information that should be disseminated to every citizen so that we prepare ourselves on how we should be able to contain our livelihood where hunger situation is looming in the country. The other thing that I'll talk about is that the president went ahead or went further to, to, to ask cooperating partners, communities, corporate world to ensure that they contribute not only up to the grain level, no, but beyond grain, so that the country can have sustainability where food security is concerned. This is something that cannot be changed. Even if you were to go and get donor money, even if you were to rush to anywhere to go and borrow money, you cannot contain this El Nino that has hit the country. This is a drought, and it is real, and it is not from anyone. It is a natural disaster that only God knows what is happening. It is not our problem. And when you look at the issues of climate change, it is, well, from way back, we've been hearing it, people have been talking about it, scientists have been educating us about the climate change, informing us on how to preserve our land, not to cut down trees. These are things that we have not been following. And these are the consequences that we are facing today. So let's not politicize that. If anything, that issue of declaring the drought as a natural disaster should not be politicized, in the sense that politicians should come back to the table, should sit down and agree or put measures, on which measures to be put in place on how this can be fought, on how resources can be put together, on where resources can be procured, so that everyone who is affected, because this does not leave anyone. It doesn't leave people with money, it doesn't leave poor people, it doesn't leave middle income people. Everyone is affected with this drought. And shortly, look, we have got challenges already at Kariba Dam. The water levels have gone down. And you can't pump water into the Kariba Dam. This has been caused because of the drought that we have. Our grains have been destroyed. So we need to put urgent measures. We need to prepare our minds. Those that can afford to put poles in their farms, let them do so. And also let the government quickly implement plans, immediate plans, so that bores are dug countrywide, so that people can have water to sustain the little plants that they have. We are even going to like the same kalembula that we don't eat today. We will like that kalembula because there is no rain to produce that plant. So this is something that every well-meaning Zambian should adhere to, put concerted efforts in ensuring that these issues are adequately addressed. It's not time to go and sit to plan who to remove from which chair. It is time to go sit and plan how you are going to sustain your family how you are going to sustain your mother, your father, because this is a natural disaster and it doesn't leave anyone, regardless of your religion, regardless of your race, regardless of what you do, you are affected.
So then, what is your commendation that the government should do as a very immediate measure to mitigate this drought that we are experiencing in terms of the food basket?
I will draw you back to the presidential speech. I think I was privileged to be there, and I listened to what the president was saying. He had called on the Ministry of Finance. Actually, he said the 2024 budget should be realigned, so that part of the money goes to addressing the challenges of the drought that the nation has experienced. So already those are measures after appealing to corporate entities and cooperating partners to make contributions. Then he said the Minister of Finance should be able to realign the budget. So meaning the Minister of Finance now is their duty to quickly ensure that part of the money quickly moves in to start addressing these challenges, where the security of the nation and the people should live in conformity with the drought that we are experiencing. Because this drought, I can assure you, might not just live without leaving other troubles if not properly handled. Ministry of Health should be on standby. Already the nation is hit with mosquitoes and others. So it might also bring its own challenges at the end of the day. So the government should quickly put in measures in all government departments in ensuring that things are done in a manner that is in conformity to fighting the drought that has hit the country. I'm happy to notice that, is it 2 days ago, the Ministry of Defense also came up with a task force. All the wings, military wings, they've come up with a task force in ensuring on urgent measures that can be put in place so that this El Nino drought that the country is faced with is addressed. And Chaza, to tell you one thing is that Hakainde this time has become exceptional because he is the first president in the African region to declare the drought as a national disaster. And other African leaders should emulate him so that we put forces together and ensure, because if we have no food in Zambia, they have no food in Congo, they have no food in Malawi, they have no food in Zimbabwe, who's going to help the other? So we expect our African leaders to come together, address this issue, because it affects everyone. We have people from overseas who are living here in Zambia. We've got people from Congo, we've got people from Malawi, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Botswana. They are here in Zambia, and we've got our people in their nations. So we need to team up and fight this cause, including us citizens who are Zambians, in Zambia. We need to team up and ensure that we contribute in fighting the challenges that is coming up with this drought that has hit the nation.
I've heard you that there's nothing that we can do about drought. It's a natural occurrence. Now, I'd like to find out, from you, considering that drought is a byproduct of, climate change. Is there anything that, the people can do in terms of, mitigating the root, which is climate change, so as to see that probably a future is secured?
Yeah, it is not too late. It is not too late. We can still mitigate this challenge, but it will take us time. We need to start planting trees countrywide. If there was a way, each Zambian should be able to plant at least 10 trees in a month so that we start seeing what can be done. Because this is something that cannot be done in a short term. It is a long-term process, and we expect this drought from time to time to be coming because it has happened. So what will make it stop to come the other years to come? So it takes concerted efforts of everyone to ensure that we put our houses in order by ensuring that we resume to tree planting because we have cut all the trees. The trees, we have abused our trees, which were protecting us from climate change. And these are the effects. So it is our duty as a nation to rebuild our nation.
All right, Mr. Mulenga, we do have, a comment coming from our very own Lance Sani Banda, who is actually, saying he's following, from Facebook, and is following from within Lusaka, and says, great topic being discussed. My simple question to the guest is, what needs to be done now that the president has declared drought a national disaster? What needs to be done? You can probably take up, that question from Lance there.
What needs to be done? And it's a good question. What needs to be done is what I'm just from explaining. We need to put our house in order. We need to work as a team. We cannot just leave this to the government alone. We are Zambians. This thing does not affect political parties. This thing does not affect companies. It affects every person that lives in Zambia. It's not a church problem. It's not a religious problem. It is our problem as citizens. So we need to put concerted efforts together and fight the cause of the drought that has hit the nation. That's what I'm talking about. Let us engage in replanting trees in our nation. Let's plant trees even in our homes, in our backyards. Because the next thing will be hit more than what we have now if we don't put preventive measures as a nation.
All right, Mr. Mulenga, the government, or rather I would say the president, indicated that some of the measures that are supposed to be undertaken by, the people that are directly affected by this drought, those that have, planted and their crops are, going bad, they are drying up. He's saying we can embark on irrigation. And some people from so many walks of lives are saying that one is impracticable. Well, what do you say? What's your comment about that irrigation to mitigate the droughts that we are currently experiencing? Is it practicable?
Well, it is practicable because it is not the first time that we are seeing this. We all very well know that lately some sections of society have been advocating for winter maize, and we have seen such happening with within the farm blocks where they have got irrigation system. So this is the system of water reticulation in the farms that should be put. All that we can appeal to is that the government removes tax on irrigation equipment so that it is easily accessible by every citizen. Because if we're going to resort to irrigation, we can go throughout as long as we have got a system where farmers have been given boreholes, which I believe the government has given a directive that boreholes should be put in all areas where they are severely hit with the drought, and then remove duty on irrigative systems so that it is easily accessible by everyone. If anything, some should even just be given for free or should be getting those irrigative system on loan so that we can access those facilities and have a system that is going to contain continuous food supply in the nation. Then we'll be able to mitigate the challenges of the effects of the drought that we have faced with.
And amongst the other measures that the president indicated of includes provision of finance, cheap finance for, farmers to actually access, irrigation equipment like you have indicated. And as it were, culturally, people are scared of finance because, finance ordinarily is very expensive. But this time around, the president is saying, financing for, irrigation equipment purposes should actually, have low rates. Just your comment on that one.
Yeah, it is true. These financial institutions should also consider that the nation is hit and it also affects them. So as they provide finances to farmers, they should consider that, farmers, they get most of the things on loans, ranging from fertilizer itself, the seed, everything to do with farming, you get it on loan. Now, here is a situation that demands that even just water to irrigate your field needs finances. Financial institutions should sit down and reconsider their rates and interest rates on farming inputs. That's why I've talked about removing duty on irrigation system when a farmer is getting them. Equally, financial institution should consider drastically removing high rates of interest. We get back to Lima Bank like it used to be during those old days of Kaunda, where they had Lima Bank. Now we have got ZCCF, we have got the Zambia National Farmers Union. These are the people who are supposed to sit down, reintroduce Lima Bank, then reintroduce cheaper loans so that it is given to people, not only considering farmers, but every citizen should have at least something to do where food sustainability is concerned.
Right, Mr. Mulenga, I again, do have a comment coming from, Lance, or rather a question who is saying, what role should citizens play in terms of a crisis to see to it that is collectively combated? How does a country recover from such a calamity?
It is very difficult to recover, but there are preventive measures that technocrats are drafting right now that will be put in place, I believe. And anything that the Ministry of Agriculture is doing in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Local Government should quickly be communicated to the general populace so that we know which direction and the route that the government is actually taking in addressing these issues that is drastically affecting the people. Because failure to do so will mean failure in their proper service delivery to the citizens that they promised a good governance. Because this thing is now going to derail development, because most of the funds will be channeled to ensuring that there is food security in the country. Already, we have seen what the nation has been going through. We just coming from fighting the scourge of COVID, we moved on to cholera. Now we have gone to another trajectory of this drought. So, these are unforeseen circumstances which are not budgeted for. And when they come, they demand for so much money that is not budgeted. At the end of the day, it becomes more like an impulse costing on the part of the government, and it affects the, the allocation of funds in ministries. It affects the treasury. It also affects the cost of living. It also affects the inflation rate in the nation, because money that was not intended for certain things are going for such things, which comes as an emergency. And when you look at the money that is allocated for emergencies, it's not as huge as what the impact we receive when we have a calamity in the nation. Who knew we could have a lot of people dying out of cholera? Who knew we could have a calamity of people dying out of COVID? Who knew we are going to have this kind of a drought in the nation? And where would money be reserved for such? So this is why I'm saying this needs concerted efforts, and government should quickly move in with the cooperating partners. And I would like to call upon the corporate entities to ensure that whenever there is such calamities in the nation, they should find at least ways and means of quickly coming in to address these challenges together with the government, so that so that we move at the same trajectory. Because even for them, these corporate entities, if they don't help, they'll lose out. But if they help, they'll gain, because meaning when the challenge is done away with, then we move at the same trajectory. So that is my take on that one.
All right, Mr. Mulenga, I think, as alludes climate change, we've talked about this and that, and, citizens out there, or rather some pockets of citizens are, saying we have the government that has, sold, most of the maize that was in the reserve, and also milling meal to neighboring, countries like Congo, DRC. And we had, the government's, spokesperson who was, on news saying the Zambian government is playing a facilitative role where, milling meal is being imported from South Africa, and it is being taken to Congo, DRC there. And those claims are saying, as a result, our food basket, the reserves, have been jeopardized. What's your comment on that?
Well, let me start with the milling being bought from South Africa to DRC. Why is it done so? It's because in Zambia, we don't have the milling meal. That's why they are buying it from Congo, or they're buying it from South Africa to take it to Congo. But then, who are buying? If Congolese decides to go and buy milling meal, and the route they use to go to Congo is Zambia, why should you stop them when they are paying duty? Why should you stop Congolese from buying what they are buying from another country for as long as they are paying your duty? what effect does it have on the citizens of Zambia? It is not the government that is buying that mini mill to take to Congo. It's business people. And what effect does that go to do with us? Chaza, I can't stop you from going to Namibia, buy sugar or buy petrol and take to Malawi. You pass through Zambia. Then what am I doing? Me, for as long as a citizen of Zambia, I ensure that you pay your tax at the border, at the entry border, and when going out, also if there is any payment that you make, you pay with customs. Then that is your business. Honestly, why should that affect people? Unless if it is the Zambian government that is doing that, then we can complain and say, why is the government buying? What business have they entered in? And then you are talking of the maize that were left in the reserve. I don't know who left that maize and when was that maize left and when was that maize sold. And what is the lifespan of maize grains, honestly, when you cultivate it? After harvesting the maize, what is the lifespan of the maize? How long do you preserve it? Can you preserve maize for 5 years? Can you preserve maize for 10 years? Say we left maize. Those are things that go to waste at some point. So if we don't know at what stage and in what state that maize was at the time it was sold. So some of these things are logical. Even when you buy a bag you can buy 3 bags of mealie meal. Stay with those 3 bags of mealie meal for 2 months in your house and see the last bag of mealie meal, what will come out of it. That is something that I've tried. I've bought 3 bags of mealie meal before. The last bag we were having, it was bad. It had belts all over so I said that, but what is this? So sometimes some of the things that we condemn are things that anyone can see the logic into them. Even beans, you cannot keep beans for 5 years. It's only 1, 2, 3 years. Then it goes bad. So anyway, I wouldn't want to comment more. Even when you are putting these preservatives, at what stage does that preservative hold the maize, hold the lifespan of the maize or the grains in a bag? There's moisture.
All right, I'll cut you short at this point in time, but what we bear in mind is that it appears that everything is being politicized, and to that effect, we'll go slightly into politics and just get to analyze the current status, as regards the political situation in our country. But before we get to do that, let's just have a short break, then we come back on the other side.
Okay.
Thank you for staying with us. This is our Ubuntu channel. And remember, we do have the program called Meet Your Leaders. And tonight we are looking at climate change. And I'll couple it up with, the current political situation in Zambia. And we are hosting Mr. Elias Mulenga here, who happens to be the Executive Director for Governance and Development Advocates Zambia. And just in case you'd like to make a comment as regards the topical issue that we do have tonight, you can leave a comment in the comment section and we'll be able to read out your comment right here on the program. And just in case you'd like to join us, we do have the link shared right in the comment section that leads you to StreamYard. You can click on it and join us right on the program. And I'll be glad to actually host you right here. Mr. Mulenga, I think we can now look at the current political situation in Zambia, and looking at some of the events that have been happening. One of which is a claim by the politicians, especially the opposition, political parties. They are claiming to say that the political situation in Zambia is so suffocating in terms of democracy. Do you agree with that statement? What is the veracity of that statement, Mr. Mulenga?
Well, Chaza, is that the claims by the opposition political parties and also the claims by the current government, to me, I can say it is lack of coordination. There is no proper coordination. It is not always that as politicians would be opposing each other, even on flimsy issues. I remember way back when the ZCUID, Zambia Interparty for Political Dialogue, that organization, where political parties would meet, sit on a round table, and discuss matters. But the kind of politics that is being practiced now is the politics of vengeance, politics of hatred, politics of hate speech, politics of deformation of character, politics of, show off. See me, they see me, you can't get anywhere like that. And you defeat the cause of justice. You could defeat the cause of the democracy that is supposed to be preserved by every politician. To start with, democracy has got rules of engagement. And any breach of such rules is tantamount to justice. What I mean, it can either be prosecution or other measures to be put in place. What is currently happening is that our opposition political parties have not accepted the governance that is in Zambia. And also our government has ignored the cause of the opposition. Why am I saying so? Let me pick on the current happenings that is making our political ground look as if it is not consistent. The coming together of the Ukwa Alliance has contributed more to divisions in the nation, because lately, each political party, when you are in opposition, you champion the cause of the formation of your political party. You cannot form a political party and depend to merge with others for you to get into governance. To me, in my personal capacity, I would call this Ukwa alliance as a rebel group. This is how things start. We've had a number of organizations emerging, starting from the Tokota Boys, the Sons of the Devils, the 14 Boys. We are those with these traditional gatherings, WhatsApp groups, all these things do not mean well in a democratic nation. Then what are they for? Because if you are championing a good cause of justice, you open up. If you have got a political party, like we have our organizations as Governance and Development Advocates Zambia, we champion our cause as an organization. We tell people what we want, what we stand for, and how we want things to be done. We tell them off if they don't agree with us. We don't need to go and join forces with another group which we do not understand properly their cause. And when you look at these political parties that have come together to form, is it UKA, is it UKWA, you find that they have got the general populace membership countrywide, but their members were not consulted on the formation of UKA. It was only the leaders that met in Lusaka and decided to form that UKA. People are not consulted. Their chairmen are not aware. Their grassroots are not aware. They just see these things in the press. And if you know, in democracy, I like democracy because it calls for wide consultations before you take up an action or before you formulate your own policies. You need to engage your people. It's more like, you know, I can liken it to a man who is not sincere. You give your wife, you go and get to other women, you start dining with them, while your wife doesn't know what you are doing outside. You see, people should know, your children should know. Huh? My children, I'm going to bring you another mother. That's how things should be. But here's a situation. This UKWA has not provided any guidance to the Zambian people, except seeing them in funerals and churches. And when they are meeting, their meetings are private. So what do they discuss that they don't want people to know? This is a democratic nation. Let everything be public. Otherwise, if we leave things like this, then we will not progress. I'm not saying this in the cause of supporting UPNT, making them feel like everything is all right. But what I'm saying is, let democracy be democracy. And I'm still consulting with the registrar of societies on how he could be so, I don't know what term I can use, to allow organizations that are already registered to merge together. What constitution did they provide there? What sort of manifestos did they provide there for them to be allowed that kind of a registration? Some of these things, our leaders cause them to happen. And at the end of the day, they will affect us and we fail to manage this nation. We don't want to start running battles in a nation that is free. I'll tell you this, Chaza. I didn't want to talk about it, but I'll tell you. I was invited for an interview at a certain TV station in the morning. It was a breakfast show. So I left my place very early to go for that TV interview. When I finished, I decided to go to a restaurant for a meal, for breakfast. I had my cup of coffee, and then when I finished, I went to the cashier to make a payment. Then this cashier tells me, no, your meal has already been paid for. I said, who has paid? He said, no, somebody has paid. He says, don't worry, just, no, show me who the person has paid. He said, no, he says, don't worry. So, okay, thank you. You tell him, thank you very much. I left the restaurant. The moment I was getting to my car, a security guard followed me and said, excuse me, sir, you have not paid your bill. I said, you are stupid. Can we get back to, can we get back to the cashier? Me, I want to pay, and he said, somebody has paid. What is this? When we got back to the cashier, I was so upset, and I made noise like no man's business. Then this man says, no, it was actually me who paid for you. And he's a person I've not like have links with him. I've seen him just on paper and stuff on media. So I said, okay. No, but if you, for me, why embarrass me like this? No, because of what you do. What do I do? Don't you know that you are plunging the nation into chaos or what? What? I said, no, 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 but this should not be the case. I can report you to the police. This is not the way you should do things. I just cancelled him. So you see, you find that some people are moving with the grudges with people who have got a good cause. So at the end, somebody can approach me like that. Well, I'm not a minister. I'm not a DC. I'm not any. I'm a nobody in this government. I just do what we do right as a registered entity. So we could see that at the end of the day, we are driving to a very dangerous situation if people can be like that. So that's why I'm saying the Register of Societies, before receiving these new registration of the political parties, organizations, there should be a proper due diligence conducted. It's not just about presenting, meeting the conditions of 12 members, the NRCs and addresses. And people, what they are doing is they will push different names that are not known, maybe school boys, school girls. Then at the end of the day, they're the ones who emerge say we are the leaders. Those should be deregistered. We want to have a Zambia that is going to benefit Zambians and our children. This generation that is causing all this anarchy in the nation, very soon they will not be there, but they are going to leave serious grudges for our children. As we are there to watch them, they are there to do all the play, and they are going to leave this nation ungovernable. So it is your duty as a journalist, our duty as civil society organizations to ensure that we protect our nation and leave our nation where it is supposed to be. Anyone breaching the tenets of democracy should be held accountable. Anyone assaulting the Constitution should be dealt with sternly for breaching the Constitution, because that is the sovereign law of the land that governs the nation. There is no way I would go and question the Constitution as to why it said this person. The Constitution says a tenure of office for a president in Zambia is 5 years. Then me, within 2 years, I go and question the Constitution. Why not take the matter to the Constitution court? Because the Constitution has got a court. Why follow an individual? And why address people? Certain statements are very alarming.
Mr. Mulenga, we can be quite specific, on this issue. We do have, a comment from, the former president of the Republic, who has been seen, in news, tabloids, TV and social media, uttering two statements that have been quite critical, and people have reacted, to those statements. One of which is the statement that, people who rise against, the current president, and force him, out of presidents before, his tenure comes to an end. And also the issue of, free education. It was purported that if he were to come back, into government or any other person, they would ensure that they get rid of, this free education, because it's not working out, because it's not qualitable. Your reaction, and I've heard you, tackling, part of the statement that some statements are not good enough. I'd like you to delve, a little bit, more on that.
To start with, Chaza, our former president and his statements, I think he needs to be guided properly by his advisors. I believe he's a Christian, and he is a friend of the church. He is always in the hands of bishops, pastors, and others who believe in Christianity. And Christianity is about love and reconciliation. So it is the duty of the people that are found with him. And if we see this kind of reckless statements, then we will associate everyone that is found with him that they are not providing proper counsel to our former president. Because in his state, he should be guided on every step that he takes. And also his media team, his press team are supposed to monitor whatever he is doing. It's not just a question of uttering statements here and there. He's a person, he's a jovial person, as we have known him, but looking at the current statements that have been issued in the recent past, that does not send a good signal to the nation and to the international community. Zambia strived to get where it is today, and he contributed to the well-being of this country. So for him to turn against what he built and start destroying it, then that is not in the best interest of the nation, not even for himself. I was so disappointed when I heard that he has returned to active politics. Now in this active politics where he has returned, he has got challenges with the party. They have got challenges. Even they could not even participate in parliamentary elections, in by elections at what level. Why is it so? It's because of the policies that they left, the laws and rules that they left is what is now fighting them. Not that there are new laws that have been formed. We have the same processes. Nothing has changed. Same constitution, nothing has changed. Same laws of Zambia, nothing has changed. So these are things that were left out, and we don't want to see our former presidency ending out to be like it is now. So the statements that are being uttered by the president, I think should be properly scrutinized, and I think it should be guided. I like the ministerial statement that Honorable Jack Mwimbu gave, was it yesterday, in the parliament, when he said they are not going to arrest him, but they are monitoring whatever he says. Now, we don't want to cross the bridge when we reach there, because it will affect every citizen of Zambia. And Zambia being a peaceful country, we need to maintain the peace. Let's not take the peace that we enjoy for granted. It is very malicious to defame the office of the presidency. I've seen the presidents here in Zambia who do not take heart. Little thing that you do, you are inside. Very little thing that a politician does is inside. We have seen presidents, former presidents, going to prison here in Zambia. Opposition presidents going in cells here in Zambia. And we don't want to be seeing such. And all we can appeal to the former president is that Zambians love him the way he is. And he should actually step down. It is not too late to go and rest so that he can enjoy his benefits. His time has passed. We have a lot of people. You know, we are talking of 20 million people. You cannot be recycled out of 20 million. You feel you are the best. We are all the best, even us. Why we are here today, it is because we are eyeing these offices. Who doesn't want a better job? Who doesn't want to be a president? Who doesn't want to be a vice president? These are things that we are eyeing, and it is a process. Now, if we are in a process, then we see somebody who left coming back. Then it sends a serious concern to say, then when am I going to be a president if this person is gone? Because it's a queue. The queue is long. We are 20 million, in fact, 22 million now, as I speak. So let's ensure that when your time passes, sit back, let people clap for you while you are alive. Enjoy, move with people. Look at the likes of Obama, likes of Clinton, wherever they are celebrated. They've run their races. And wherever, even if Bill Clinton is coming to Zambia, we shall all of us shall go to the airport and start waiting for him. But yet he's not the president of America. That is what we need. Whenever there is anything, the president should assign his former president to say, my brother, can you go and do this for me? They are supposed to dine together. So like we have Women's Day, they're supposed to be together. See our women and appreciate the achievements of our women in Zambia, our mothers. They have done a lot. They helped liberate this nation to where it is today. It is because of women. So let our presidents be able to work together. Also appeal to the head of state to engage with the former president so that these issues can be addressed. And I don't know whether our former president's office is actually providing any service to the nation, because he has left his office to attend to public politics actively. Then what is his office doing? What are we going to learn from his office when we go there? Because he's never there. We want to see, but President Mwalete Kashani Chalo, mwezopeza bwanji mwendala, mwezopeza bwanji vintu. You know, such are things that we need to ask from our former heads of state. Now, we don't have any former head of state to go to. God has taken them. The only person we have now is the one who is still, let me not say masquerading, who is still fighting for political positions, which he already enjoyed. Let's go on, Chaza.
Right, Mr. Mulenga, you know, I wish we could go beyond this, but due to time, they say whatever goes up must, you know, definitely come down. You know, we'll definitely find some other time to host you and probably, you know, delve more into some of the issues that we have left hanging. Be that as it may, we are so grateful to actually, you know, host you right here on our Ubuntu channel. And we actually hope that even next time, your doors will still remain open to appear on, you know, our programs right here. Thank you so much, Mr. Mulenga.
Anytime. Thank you so much for hosting me. Good evening.
All right, listeners and viewers out there, you know, it's been a pleasure having you right here following the program. And remember, we've hosted Mr. Elias Mulenga, who is the Executive Director for Governance and Development Advocates Zambia. We were looking at climate change, and we tackled, you know, a little bit on politics. My name is Chaza right here on Meet Your Leaders. Till next time, God bless you all.